Hi, my name is Andrew Wilson and I'm a business planning specialist. I help social and environmental enterprises to write professional business plans, which help them to start or fund their business. Fourth video in a series of videos all about social enterprise. In this video, we will cover where to start when looking to fund a social enterprise. So a little bit of verbal fine print to start with. All the information in this video is just general in nature and doesn't take into account any individual financial situations. Independent, legal, financial and business advice is always recommended before making commercial decisions. So considering the funding options for social enterprise, the great thing is that social enterprise often unlocks different types of investment than would otherwise be found either in the not-for-profit space or in the for-profit space. So for not-for-profits that are moving into social enterprise, they may be able to seek out investors because they might be able to provide a financial return for them. This assumes obviously that you're looking to create the right structure that allows for that process. And for for-profits, aiming to do some social or environmental good might open the door for attracting impact investors. So these are investors who look to combine both a competitive return on their investment, as traditional investors would seek, but they also look to invest in businesses that are creating a social or environmental good as a result of the business as well. So just looking at a few of the funding options that are available out there. This is just an overview only, just to give you a bit of a feel for those different options and some of the pros and cons that come with them. So there's 4 options that I'm going to talk about. The first one being debt, and next one is equity. Then there's grants and donations, and then the last one being crowdfunding. So with debt, the pros of debt, so think about it as seeking a loan, obviously, is that you're not giving away equity, so you're not giving away ownership or control of the business. They're generally simple in structure, so you would be borrowing an agreed amount, and then on a set time frame, whether it be fortnightly or monthly, you have to repay a certain amount. So the cons of debt are that it can be difficult to access, particularly for startups. And another one is that you obviously have to pay interest. So there's a cost to the ability to borrow money. And there's also a drain on cash flow in that there's a regular repayment that you have to make, whether that be fortnightly, monthly, or whatever it might be. And therefore that's taking away from funds that you could be using for other areas of the operation of the business. So the next option is equity. This is giving away ownership in the business to investors. So the pro of this is that you're not impacting cash flow necessarily. So there's often, unlike debt, where there's a regular specific repayment that you have to make on a regular basis, equity generally doesn't have that. The other great thing is it can also help bring on really helpful advice, because you can have investors that might have industry experience that can come on, and they have a vested interest in your business. They're wanting it to succeed and have a financial return. So they are looking to support you and give you advice as part of that. The cons are that it can be difficult to access, particularly for startups, and you're also giving away ownership and often an element of control that comes with that too. So the third one of grants and donations, the wonderful thing about them is that not having to pay interest, and you're not giving away ownership or control. And it's therefore not impacting your cash flow either. The cons are that it takes a lot of time to work on submitting grants or seek out donations, and they're becoming increasingly competitive. So that adds to the time and effort involved in seeking them out. There's also limits, obviously, on where the money can be spent. So you're not able to spend that on anything. So the last one there is crowdfunding. And this one is basically a channel that opens up to lots of small investors. There's a variety of options available. In fact, there's options for each of the 3 options that sit above it. So you can do crowd lending, you can do crowd equity, and there's crowd donation platforms as well. The great thing is that it works really well for businesses that have a social or environmental purpose, because trying to tell your story on a crowdfunding platform, people buy into that if they have a purpose and some values to get behind. On the cons side for crowdfunding is it takes time to set up crowdfunding campaigns. You really have to put a lot of thought into, it's almost like running a marketing campaign. And on top of that, it adds to the cost of securing funds, because the crowdfunding platform itself will generally take a commission of the overall funds that you were able to access through that platform. So that's just a general overview of a few of the different funding options that are out there. And the key takeaways there are that it can unlock investment from different types of investors, depending on the type of business that you're running. There's several options available, and there's pros and cons to each of those. And it's just important to sit down and think about how that works for your business. Thanks for watching. This was the final video in the 4-part series all about the wonderful world of social enterprise. If this has been helpful, click the link below to stay in touch. Please also subscribe, like, or share. Thank you.